Once upon a time, in a small village lived a cheerful little boy named Tiko. One day he goes to a jungle where he meets a wise old man who tells him about a secret magical pot. Tiko goes in the deep jungle to find the secret magical pot. At last, he finds an old clay pot with strange golden patterns swirling around its surface. He carefully brushed off the dirt and lifted the pot. A deep, warm voice echoed from inside. "Oh, kind boy who has set me free, what do you wish? But beware, this pot grants not what you want, but what you need." Excited, Tiko takes the pot to his home. He thought about what to wish for. He whispered, "I wish for food, so my mother never has to worry again." The pot hummed and rattled, and it bubbled over with warm, delicious noodles. Fragrant steam filled the air. Tiko couldn't believe it. From that day on, whenever the family was hungry, the magic pot would fill itself with the most wonderful meals. But one day, a greedy man from the village, jealous of Tiko's magical pot, snuck into his home and grabbed it. He shook it, demanding, "Give me gold, give me jewels." The pot trembled. Then, poof, it overflowed with porridge. He ran, slipping and tumbling as the magic pot chased him, pouring more porridge at his feet. The whole village laughed, and the man returned the pot, soaked and embarrassed. Tiko smiled and placed the pot back on the kitchen shelf. He had learned an important lesson. Magic isn't about greed. It's about kindness, sharing, and helping those in need. After that, villagers in need would come, and Tiko happily shared food with them. Tiko and his magic pot continued to bring warmth and joy to his village. Tiko, a curious young boy, walks home, happily peeling and eating a juicy orange. He tosses the seeds aside carelessly. On the way, he meets a wise old man. "Wise old man," smiling, "Boy, never eat oranges with seeds." Tiko laughs. "Why? What's the worst that could happen?" The wise old man chuckles mysteriously and walks away. Tiko shrugs, then deliberately swallows a few seeds. The next morning, as he walks into the bathroom, he stares in the mirror. A tiny green branch pokes out of his nostril. He tugs at it. Pop! It stings, but comes out. He sighs in relief. Tiko. Phew! That was weird. Tiko goes to his school while he was sitting at his desk. Suddenly, a branch sprouts from his nose. He gasps. Another shoots out of his ears. Orange juice squirts everywhere. Suddenly, a huge tree bursts out of Tiko's mouth, covering the whole classroom. Oranges dangle everywhere. Desks were trapped in vines. Tiko, now a gigantic orange, bounces out of the school and onto the street. Tiko, panicking. "I don't want to be an orange." Slams into a tree. Everything goes black. Tiko gasps awake in his bed, drenched in sweat. He touches his nose, normal. He sighs in relief. Tiko, panting. It was just a dream? He remembers the wise old man's advice. Never eat oranges with seeds. He learns that we should not eat what's not meant for eating and always follow elders' advice. Once upon a time, a poor boy named Tiko lived with his mother in a village. One day, Tiko met a mysterious man in a market who gave him 5 magic beans. His mother, furious, threw the beans out the window. The next morning, a giant beanstalk had grown overnight, reaching high into the sky. Tiko climbed it, eager for adventure. At the top, Tiko found a magical castle, where a kind giant's wife warned him of her husband, a fearsome giant. Tiko, clever and brave, stole a bag of gold coins, a golden hen, and even a magical harp before the giant woke up. But as the giant wakes up, he chased Tiko, who was racing down the beanstalk with the harp in hand, and just as the giant reached the bottom, Tiko chopped down the beanstalk with an axe. The beanstalk fell, and the giant plummeted from the sky, never to be seen again. With the golden coins, the hen, and the magical harp, Tiko and his mother were no longer poor. They lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village of Lumora, people were living a happy life. But one day, a big sea of rats came in the village. Rats scurry everywhere, knocking over baskets, chewing through grain sacks, stealing bread. Villagers chased them with brooms, but the rats just kept coming. One night, Tiko, a curious boy, sat by the fireplace, flipping through an old book. His eyes widen as he reads about the Pied Piper. Tiko, whispering to himself, excited, he led the rats away with music. He glances at his grandfather's wooden whistle. He wipes off the dust and blows. Toot! It's soft, but promising. Tiko climbs onto the village fountain, takes a deep breath, and plays a light, playful melody. The sound floats through the air. Tiko keeps playing, stepping forward. The rats scurry after him. He led them down the road, past the fields, toward the deep jungle. The villagers watched in stunned silence as the last rat vanished into the trees. All the villagers were happy on this relief. Tiko's father lifts him onto his shoulders, beaming with pride. One bright summer afternoon, Tiko, a curious boy, stumbled upon a tiny glowing doorway nestled in the roots of a tree. Intrigued, he knocked, and in the blink of an eye, whoosh, Tiko shrank to the size of a pebble. Tiko found himself in Teneria, a beautiful land of the tiny people. They were no taller than his thumb, with shimmering wings and leaf outfits. Tiko was mesmerized to see this land of tiny people and tiny houses. He met the tiny people with shimmering wings who were baking a magnificent cake and a special tea in a giant teapot. He enjoyed the feast with the tiny people. Tiko grew back to his normal size and waved goodbye to his tiny friends. He was very happy and mesmerized with his adventure on the land of tiny people.